One day, my friends and I decided to go on a road trip and go camping for the weekend. Sarah offered to drive, so Emily went shopping for necessities. We drove for about 4 hours and were just a couple of hours away from our destination. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and the rain started coming down, lashing against the car windows like angry whispers from the night itself. Inside the old, battered vehicle, all of us huddled together. Emily started to panic, and I comforted her with an expression like everything was good. Deep down, though, I was scared. The storm was so intense, and we didn't have anywhere to stay. Plus, we were quickly running out of gas. The sky was covered with a blanket of dense black clouds, torn only by the occasional flash of lightning, and the road ahead seemed to vanish into the darkness. "We need to find shelter," I yelled over the raging storm. Sarah's grip tightened on the steering wheel, and she told us that she could barely see anything. We were in the middle of nowhere. Just when we were really feeling frightened, a tiny light was blinking through the pouring rain. I got excited. "Look, there's a light up ahead!" I screamed. Through the heavy rain, we could see a far-away tower with its light flickering like our heartbeat in the darkness. "We should head there," I suggested. It seemed to be the only option. We all agreed, even though we were hesitant not knowing what it was, but we didn't have a choice. As we got closer, the light showed it was an old lighthouse. It was worn and seemed to have been through a lot from the strong sea winds. The windows were broken, and the whole lighthouse seemed to make creaking sounds as the wind pushed against it. As we went inside, all of us felt like the air was damp and heavy, kind of like a big, wet blanket. Sarah admitted in her quivering tone that the place was giving her creepy vibes, and she was scared. I said, "Well, it's better than being out here in this cruel storm." But fear was evident in my voice as well. We settled on the floor, with our wet clothes clinging to our skin. The light above us swung like a pendulum and made weird shapes on the walls. We stayed like that for a long time, feeling more and more nervous as the time passed. The storm didn't seem to let up any time soon. But as we talked quietly in hushed tones, the light suddenly started to dim. It trembled like it's a living thing and turned the room all dark with suffocating darkness. A piercing scream echoed through the chamber, slicing through our ears. Sarah's eyes widened. "Did you hear that?" she inquired. Emily and I looked at each other with worried faces. We were scared because we heard it as well. Emily insisted that someone was screaming with pain. I tried to calm us all down, but my voice was shaky when I said that maybe it's just the storm. "No, it came from just outside the lighthouse," Sarah insisted, with her gaze fixed on the lighthouse's entrance. I tried to look out the window, but all I saw was rain and darkness. I told them that there was no one outside. And as I turned my head back towards the window, a spooky figure appeared from the shadows. It was a strange man, with torn clothes drenched with rain, walking towards us with empty eyes. Fear gripped us from our throats as we saw this creepy-looking stranger. Who are you?" My voice shook. The man swiftly raised his head, and his lips curled into a twisted grin. "Caretaker," he stuttered after a pause. He sounded unnatural with his hollow tone. There was an awkward silence for some time, and he was just staring at us with his eyes widened and without even blinking. "What's wrong with him?" Emily whispered in my ear. His presence was sending shivers down our spines. His skin was ashen and pale, so I thought he might be getting cold from the rain, and so I offered him a blanket. He didn't respond. And after a pause, he muttered, "This place is my burden," with an expression of sorrow on his face. Then he reached out at us with his trembling hand as if to touch us. Our instincts were triggered, and all of us stepped back. We realized that something was terribly wrong with this man. The light in the lighthouse started to fluctuate, and as it was flickering, the man started to look even scarier. The shadows on his face became more sinister, and his eyes extra spooky. "You shouldn't have come here," he hissed, and his voice echoed all around. All of us were just in a state of shock, trying to figure out what was happening. And Sarah stammered with terror, "We need to leave! We're going! Don't hurt us!" I asked him, "What do you want from us?" In response to this question, his smile got wider, and he started laughing like a maniac. As he raised his gaze, his yellow and grimy teeth were visible through his smile. Then he stopped laughing and said, "Freedom is what I want, but it's too late now." He turned towards the door, and the door flew open without him even touching it. As he walked out of the lighthouse, I followed him, and he suddenly vanished into thin air. We were all terrified and went outside into the storm. Rain and wind were hitting our faces hard. But just as we left, the lighthouse's light got super bright again, and its light was piercing through the dark night. Gasping for air to breathe, we ran to Sarah's car with our hearts beating so fast. I got to the driver's seat and I started the car with my shaky hands. Finally, the engine started just as the lighthouse's light turned towards us. It felt like someone was projecting it manually upon us. As I sped away, the light followed us for a long time. Suddenly, the same creepy man we saw at the lighthouse was right in front of our car. I abruptly slammed on the brakes, and we got out of the car to see nothing but darkness. We were terrified. Emily and Sarah were crying in the car. In the distance, headlights pierced the darkness. It was a truck coming right at us. It screeched to a stop in front of us, and the driver jumped out. He told us to get in. "Get in quickly!" he yelled, like he was throwing us a rope to escape. We didn't think twice and jumped into the truck. As we looked back at the lighthouse, we were all shaking with fear. The truck's engine roared like a monster, and we zoomed away, leaving the scary lighthouse behind us. As the distance between us and the lighthouse grew, its light dimmed and eventually faded into the stormy night. But its eerie glow would forever haunt our memories. Breathing heavily, we looked back one last time. "What was that thing?" I murmured. The truck driver looked at us and said, "Who told you to go there? No one even goes near that lighthouse. Legend has it that an ancient evil is hidden in that lighthouse. A caretaker who fell into darkness, indulged in forbidden rituals. So now his soul is forever bound to the tower, seeking to claim more victims." All of us were shocked to hear this horrifying revelation. We couldn't even think of it in our wildest of dreams. Then the storm gradually ended, but the horror we experienced would never fade.